What's up, everybody in the YouTube world? This is Chris, aka Bar911970. Thank you for watching this video. Alright, let's get into it a little bit. I really think at this point in this society, in this world we all live in, that we're being basically taught to think in a backwards direction. And I'll give you two prime examples. The biggest things we talk about these days are gun control and how we could stop people from dying, and things like, for example, the healthcare issue. Should we provide people with healthcare? Now, I do agree that if you are sick, you should have some form of healthcare to help yourself. And I do agree that when it comes to murders and crime, we should try and find ways to make the world safe. But in a backwards way, like for example with this whole gun control situation, or at least trying to diminish the amount of guns that people are allowed to own, even though the Second Amendment gives us the right to bear arms, when there is an unfortunate situation where a crazy individual or crazy individuals go and harm others, instead of focusing on the fact that maybe they're on some kind of medications, maybe they have some kind of health issues, maybe they have a criminal background, they don't tend to focus on those things. They focus on the weapon itself. And to me, that is not the logical way to fix a problem, especially when you're talking about the laws that they want to create that ultimately end up bringing a disadvantage to law-abiding citizens. And that is from protecting themselves against aggression, which they have the right to do that. If somebody's coming at you with a gun, whether you believe in killing somebody or not, or the ability to do that, you do have a right to defend your person, your property. So to discuss the tool used does not help law-abiding citizens to fix a problem. Because as we see, even in prisons alone, we can't stop people from stabbing one another. We can't stop alcohol and drugs from entering the prison system. Now think about that. I could see, like for example, getting a piece of metal that you can't control. Alcohol is legal. But drugs, aren't they illegal? And they can't even stop them in the prisons where they are guarded in cells, and they cannot stop the flow of drugs entering a prison? How do they think they could stop criminals by adding laws? All they do is hurt law-abiding people. Because if you're a criminal, you're not going to see a new gun law, for example, or any other law, and say, oh, well, now that they said I can't do that, I guess my crime spree is over. Criminals don't work that way. So when it comes to, for example, also, like healthcare, I completely agree with the fact that if somebody's sick, we should all have the ability to be able to take care of that problem. But instead of them focusing where it really should lie, they focus on the end product. Once you're sick, you need to be taken care of, which I agree. And this is coming from a person who almost died from walking pneumonia at least 5 times in my life and have had breathing problems all my life. I have an inhaler with me, even though I haven't been sick in over a year and a half because of my sun gazing. I keep it with me just in case, because you never know. And to me, if I'm about to drop dead from an asthma attack, that little spray, no matter what side effects it might have, if it saves me at that moment, that's a godsend. I mean, let's keep it real. But this is what they should be focusing on. The things that cause us to all be getting sicker. Do you notice with all this technology, we're not a healthy nation? We're overweight. We have more people on antidepressant medications. We have more people in prisons. We have more people with mental disabilities. More and more medications are coming out. So maybe instead of focusing on the end product, which is the health being at question, we focus on what causes us to become sick. What about the genetically modified foods? What about the chemicals they put in water? What about the potential hazardous things they put in your fillings in your teeth, like mercury? What about all the situations that cause us to get sick? Because if you think about things in their proper order, if you can actually prevent somebody from getting sick, well, then the healthcare issue would basically be irrelevant. I mean, think of it this way. If you have a boat and you're in the middle of the ocean, and there's a leak in that boat, it's an amazing thing if somebody comes along and gives you the ability to repair that boat and keep it from sinking. That's no question. So it's the same thing if you have a health problem, that if a medicine or an operation or something can save your life, then that's a great thing. But let's say that boat, every time you go to a specific point in the ocean, for whatever reason, something comes along and drills a hole in your boat. Well, then, yes, it's great that your boat isn't sinking because somebody came along and helped you repair the hole. But if you could stop what caused the hole in the boat in the first place, well, then you wouldn't need to repair anything. And this is where I think we're all starting to lose focus, and we're pointing on the after effects. So instead of them talking about places like Monsanto, the government using fluoride, chemicals like aspartame, and all these other things that we're ingesting on a daily basis that are causing us to get sick, or depressed, or angry, or whatever level you think we're getting to, they focus on the after the fact of, well, since you're sick, we need this to take care of you. So do you see where they are trying to keep us away from what is causing the problem? They just want to fix what is already there. And like I said, if you're sick and medicine or something can cure you, well, it beats dying. But if you could figure out what caused you to get to that point, and you can eliminate that from ever happening, well, then there would be no need for that operation or that medicine to save your life, because you wouldn't ever get to that level. And that's why they don't discuss things like organic fruits and vegetables. They don't talk about things like the sun gazing. Because believe it or not, whether people like it or not, I am a person that shows proof that my health has improved doing this. So they don't want to talk about companies and corporations that they make millions, if not billions of dollars with. That's why you'll see all of these medicines and these pills that come out on a daily basis, 10 years ago saying it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then a generation later, or at least a half a generation later, because a generation is every 20 years, you see those very same particular items that were there to help you on the 1-800-lawyer commercials, and they find out they're bad for you. But meanwhile, during all that time, the people, the companies that made those products profited, got out, and they're living the high life, while millions of people are getting sick and dying. So I understand the need for healthcare. I understand the need for controlling crime. But if you don't go to the bare roots of what causes situations, then it doesn't matter what you do at the end. Because if, like I said, if you don't fix the reason why there's a hole in the boat, you're going to forever spend your time repairing something instead of trying to prevent it from happening. So even when you go with the whole gun control situation, if you don't deal with the fact that there are people on some kinds of forms of drugs that cause these kind of side effects, the depression, the crime, the reason that there's no jobs, the reason for most crime is because of the fact that people steal to feed their family or to pay bills. Now, of course, not everybody is that way, but I watch a lot of those prison shows, and a lot of them say that due to their drug addiction or due to their environment where they live, sometimes the only way they can either continue their drug habit or feed their family and provide for their family is to steal. Now, does that make it right? No. But if we fix the economic problem and everybody had financial ability to create a job and earn a living, well, then wouldn't crime be reduced? And I know even with that being said, there are still going to be a few maniacs out there who just do things because it's evil and they enjoy evil. But we shouldn't punish the majority of the law-abiding citizens based on what the few do. And unfortunately, like they say, a few bad apples spoil the tree. We shouldn't allow that. Because remember, people, our governments throughout the world are nothing more than a representation of us, we the people. Now, I don't know how it works in other countries. I can only talk about my country, the United States of America Corporation. It's supposed to be we the people. It says it in the Declaration of Independence. And yet we always wait for somebody else to do the actions. And we allow them to create law after law that please a few people, that make a few other people profit off of it, and make the majority of us suffer. We need to stop that. We need to put a change in that. And that means instead of just saying, well, even though there are tragedies, and I'm not suggesting there aren't, and I'm not going to say how they started or not because I wasn't there for any of them, I can't honestly say other than speculation. But instead of focusing on the after effect and then saying, oh, well, this one crazy person killed a bunch of people, so we need to stop guns, we need to stop and think, well, what caused him to get to that level? Was it pills that he took? Was it his environment? What was it? Because the gun, whether you believe in them or not, is nothing more than a tool, just like a car. So if a person is driving drunk, which they know is the wrong thing to do, and you kill somebody, well, that person should go to jail. That person should be punished for what he did or what she did. They should not make a law that says, well, because so many people die in a car accident due to drunk driving, we're now going to allow people to no longer have the privilege of driving, take away their licenses or take away their cars. See how that doesn't make sense? So before this video cuts off, I've been having problems with my computer today because, you know, it's the NSA, because some people take everything I say literally. I'm going to stop it now, but I want you people to think. We need to think for ourselves. We got to stop being programmed what these people, these government officials, who are nothing more than paid puppets to do what the masters tell them because they provide them with lots of currency to do it, and start thinking for ourselves and realizing that if we always look at the end result and we only focus on that, it never gets solved. We need to go to the root of the problem and discover what causes something so we can prevent it. And until that time, there are going to be unfortunate tragedies. There are going to be unfortunate illnesses because we're not fixing the root of the problem. We're just seeing it from the end result. Thanks for watching. Let's hear your opinion. Peace.